Walking the Weird. As always, I am Tyler, and with me,
It's me, Shawn.
and today Shawn has like a multitude.
A multitude. I love that word. No, it's three stories.
It's a multitude.
It's a multitude. It's actually right up your alley, bro.
Oh,
I
great.
You told me last time that I had given you a possession one. You were still unsatisfied with my reportings.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I'll go up with your alley. You are wearing the hat appropriately for it. These are three UFO cases or alien abduction cases that by internet and Reddit and shit are the most credible.
Oh, great.
Hang on. They're the most credible according to what people are saying, that the ones that have the most like likelihood of happening. It sounds more calmed down. No one turned into a butterfly and then fucked Bigfoot or anything like that. It's like normal, more just putting shit anally.
I mean, that's not a hard bar to cross. Like,
Phrasing?
no,
Oh, I was
no,
like,
sorry, like that's not a high bar to like
oh,
cross.
you said
Like,
hard bar. I mean, either way,
sorry.
I'm down. Like either way, I'm down. Just let me know. But so a few of these cases you might have actually heard of. So I'm going to give you the names of them. We're going to go through them one at a time. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is the abduction of Travis Walton, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're familiar with. They made a
Mm-hmm.
movie out of it. The next one is Linda Napolitano, and the last one is Frederick Valentich. All right. So
I
we're
think
gonna
I
go.
know two out of the three.
Yeah, no one knows about Linda. Like fuck Linda. Like who's that? You know what I mean? But no, I'm just kidding. All right. So the first one is the abduction of Travis Walton. Oh, real quick, before we do that, I wanted to ask you regarding to your belief in aliens. You said you do believe in aliens, correct? You believe in aliens, right?
Yes,
Do you
100%.
believe that they abduct people?
5 out of 10, 50%.
5 out of 10. So you think that some people are full of shit, some people are actually legit.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like a mental illness psychosis thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mass delusion type shit.
mm,
Yeah, I could see that.
but it's not some of their like
There's truth in there somewhere.
there's it's just so many of their stories. It's like it's too fantastical.
Yeah, some of
That's
them
where I'm
go
like,
overboard.
no.
And I think this is where I think this first story for me at least is where we were. And also, by the way, we're wearing sunglasses because why shouldn't we wear fucking sunglasses? Anyway, so the first case of abduction of Travis Walton. Oh, did you have any questions before we go?
Nope. I just want
Nope.
to say with the hat, I am qualified to
Yep.
speak on this.
Yep. Qualified. Alien certified.
Yep.
So November 5th, 1979, Travis is reported missing by his logging crew. Now, this is
Mm-hmm.
a logging crew that was working out of Heber, Arizona. They claim that on the drive back, the crew noticed a bright light through the trees and said that they saw a quote strange gold disc
Mm-hmm.
as they got closer. It was hovering in place about 20 feet above the ground. They had a measurement of, and they eyeballed this measurement, all right? So it was about 15 to 20 feet in diameter and 8 feet in width. Travis approached the craft despite his crew telling him, "Hey, bro, maybe not, maybe you shouldn't, maybe don't do that," and he approached it anyway, right? So, despite that, Kraft got angry and it shot a blue green light that emitted. Now, the crew member attests to this green light, this bluish green light, and Travis says that he remembers it as well. And it emitted from the craft and it struck him in the head and the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the force was strong enough to send him back at least a few feet. I would say roughly anywhere between 5 to 10 feet is what they reported. Travis remembers a numbing force like an electrocution hitting him and falling into blackness, as he said. Now, falling into blackness meaning like I'm assuming he meant like losing consciousness and shit. Which, by the way, an electrocution feels nothing but numbing. It's not numbing at all. You poop yourself. Anyway, so he said that Travis's crew members and friends left after seeing the scene. They fucking dipped. They were like, "Nah, fuck this guy. He's dead." So they just dipped out and they left him. They left him there, right? And they assumed he was dead. And when they left, one of them explained that they saw a craft levitate and take off to the northeast direction shortly after they left on their way out. The crew went back to for Travis, like the next day. They were like, "Fuck, we left our friend out there, whatever," right? So they went back the next day to try to see if they could find him, and they found out that he was gone. He had been missing, right? And they went back and they later reported him as missing to the police, and he was gone for approximately 5 days. During this time, during this time that there was that the 5 days were going by, His crew was investigated, right? So now the crew was investigated for the missing of this person, of Travis, and everything like that. And I'm gonna go to what he recollects in the abduction before I go to the investigation. Okay. So Travis says when he came to doctor's office, a doctor's
A
office setting,
doctor.
a doctor in a setting with a triangular ceiling and three humanoids with large brown eyes and abnormally large heads stood under about 5'5" and were wearing tall, soft orange brown overalls. Um, one of the words that he used was bellowy,
Like billowy?
like bellowy, like filled with air. And I'm like, how do you judge that upon sight? But whatever. Anyway, and also he like pretty much described the minions. So you know,
That's what I'm saying.
so he said that he attacked the beings and he fled looking for a way out. And he came across a another humanoid type entity, a creature, right? A muscular one, a big, tall, muscular one with blonde hair. He refers to them as good looking. And
These are supposedly the Nordics.
the Nordics, yeah. That's a species that he was looking at. So basically, they have blonde hair and perfect skin. They forced him out of the craft into a warehouse with other saucers as well, eventually leading him into another room with three more of the same humanoid type humanoid persons, whatever, right? One was a female, as he describes it, and the other two were male. And he describes them as good looking and having similar features, all wearing blue velvet uniforms. And he described them as the epitome of their gender. I don't know about you. I'm in a strange place. I'm not gonna be like, your skin is perfect, man. You look like the ultimate queen. I'm gonna be like, why am I here right now? What the fuck's going on? But that's what he. I have a few questions for that guy. If we ever meet him, like, why was that on your mind? And they were wearing blue velvet uniforms, and he described him as the epitome of the gender. And they pushed him under the table and they forced a mask on his face, which afterwards he passed out. He woke back up in Heber, and he says that he claims to see a silver shaped disc hovering in the road nearby him, which flew then straight up into the sky and disappeared silently. And by his account, he was only gone for what he appeared to be an hour or two. He learned that he had been missing for 5 days. Now, with the investigation that was conducted with his crew members, they were interrogated for a few hours and they also took lie detector tests, which none at the time during the interrogations or during the lie detector test did they ever confess that they faked this, that they exaggerated accounts or anything like that. It was never, they never yielded, they never said anything. And the tests came out that they were that the results of the test were that they passed or that it was inconclusive. I think two of them got inconclusive. The rest of them got that they were telling the truth. So a psychiatrist had stated that they thought that the abduction was in Walton's head,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they could not figure out why the rest of the crew and certain other witnesses that were around at the time would go along with it. They thought it was like a case of mass delusion, blah blah blah, whatever, right?
And from what I remember, that when they're describing these things, they're all describing the same thing.
They're all describing the same
Like,
thing. Yeah, they're all their stories are very congruent. The bluish green, whatever. The only one that's a little out there is a humanoid thing, right? Now there's speculation that he could have exaggerated that, whatever, blah 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 blah. You know, here there.
and I can get into some of that a little later, but
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
get into
sorry,
that a
you
little
go
bit
on.
later. On a he because he's still alive, so he's still alive. During the time that they were being investigated, they took the lie detector test, came out inconclusive or passed, and then the psychiatrist had that deduction. Now, when a lot of other medical professionals reached that conclusion of why would they go along with it, it kind of fell apart the whole delusion thing. Now, I'm not saying Travis Walton was abducted by aliens, but it's enough for medical professionals to be like, well, hang on, why are all these people going along with it as well? Now, during the time about 6 years ago, Travis said on a podcast much like this one, except probably more famous and with sponsors. The trees at the site had an abundance of bark growth, about 36% increase on the specific side where that craft was reported to be. Now that's a significant difference from the average tree bark. And I know it's
Mm-hmm.
dumb that it's bark, but radiation, all that stuff affects that type of growth and everything. So if it was for what he said, the craft, and it was emitting some type of energy or radiation, that might definitely affect the bark growth. So there is some validity to that, to what he said. Travers later was on the show and called a moment of truth where the lie detector test was given and the result showed that he failed the test. However, this was deemed uncredible as it was a TV show and could be manipulated for ratings. That's the first story of Travis Walton. Obviously, his story became what is it? A movie. It was called Inside the Fire or something like that.
Um, Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky. Fire in the Sky. And it shows a gross exaggeration of nothing he described.
Yeah.
It's completely opposite of what he described. They're not good looking aliens. I don't care what you say. Like, you know what I mean? No matter how hard you squint, that alien does not look like Angelina Jolie. I don't care what anybody says. But it kind of put this more in the hoax category, while a lot of people did have credibility in it, or people believed it. So for me, based on the evidence of some of these, I say that some of this stuff might be plausible. Is it a delusion? Is it whatever? I don't know. But I think that this story is a pretty solid story and shows at least one compelling case. Now, obviously, we're going to go back through all this as soon as I'm done with the last one. But these kind of show that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next one that I have, hang on, let me scratch my eye real quick. So the next one I have is Linda Ice Cream. No, I'm just kidding. Her name is Linda Napolitano, but that's the name of an ice cream, and it makes me laugh. So Linda and Bud Hopkins, which you might know, a famous ufologist, worked together to document the case.
Isn't it Hodgkins?
It's Hopkins,
Hopkins.
bro. Hodgkins is fucking cancer. Anyway,
Yeah.
worked together to document and publicize the case. In November 30th, 1989, about 3:30 or 3 to 3:30 a.m. in New York City, Linda claims that she awoke to find short aliens, and her word using aliens, around her bed. She was unable to wake her husband as the perceived as she perceived the beings to be telling her to be quiet in a silent and odd language. The beings levitated her off the bed and off of her 12th story window of her apartment, floating into a bright blue light into a clamshell shaped spaceship, is the accounts. Once inside, the beings experimented on her, even putting instruments in her nose, which she passed out after, and awoke 2 hours later at 5 a.m. Now, the reason that they put something in her nose will become a little bit more important a little later. So she to her claim she woke up 5 a.m. in her bed next to her husband. 2 years after the abduction, she reached out to Hopkins with an X-ray image of a cylindrical object in her nose, which I'll show you the picture as well after the podcast, and with the spiral extensions curling away from her face. The X-ray was taken by podiatric surgeon and Linda's niece, Lisa Bayer. Later, Linda claimed that the object was removed in another abduction that she had. Hopkins stated that Linda visited a nose, throat, and specialist who confirmed that the buildup of cartilage on the specific area of where she had claimed to have the object there was in fact there. So there were an abnormal growth in this,
As if something was there.
as if something could have been there or if something was going on. Now, this fits into a lot of the details with the average abduction stories. So the reason that this story gained traction was the witnesses. Hopkins said that in 1991, 2 years after the abduction, a police officer, and I'm going to put it in quotes for that reason, a police officer sent him a letter about an experience that they had one night where they were claimed to have seen Linda hovering alongside three beings being led up to a spaceship craft surrounded by a blue light while they sat under the FDR bridge. Now, these are officials and agents. They claim police officers because that's what they originally claimed themselves to be. Now, um, they said that they felt guilty for not helping the incident at the time, the lady or anything like that, and one of the officers ended up having a nervous breakdown. So they reported this. Hopkins told Linda, "Hey, don't speak to these guys at all. Don't speak to these officers or anything to compromise the story. You don't want to fill in, lead them on or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, right?" However, the officers, quote unquote, came and saw Linda by their own volition numerous times, revealing to be named Richard and Dan, and wanting to know what happened exactly, specific detail. She referred them to Hopkins. He later received a letter, sorry, stating that these officers were actually security for a famous politician who was present with them, but did not want to be revealed. He signed a letter confirming the statement that was going on of everything that happened by the name and moniker him, Him, capital Him. Now theorists believe that this figure to be Javier Perez de Cular, sorry, former secretary of the UN. However, Hopkins never met with Richard nor Dan and corresponded only through letters, so no specific or official evidence exists of any official witnessing or any of these people that they claim to witness it. This led theorists to believe that Hopkins might have been a victim of a hoax where Linda and a few others were involved. In the book The Trickster and the Paranormal, a person who remains anonymous a person who remains anonymous working in dignitary protective services states that the accounts of Richard and Dan do not align with any protective protocol for moving officials. According to Shawn F. Mears, a UFO and abduction researcher, he claims with Bud Hopkins that there are 23 witnesses ranging from family and friends to complete strangers. One reporter, Steve Dunleavy, Linda states, "If I was hallucinating, then the witnesses saw my hallucination." That's crazier than the actual story, than the actual abduction story. And that was story number 2. Right now, with these witnesses' accounts and everything like that, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of things, and she has a point, a slight point. Like if she was hallucinating, everyone else saw their hallucination too. Like how's that possible? But you can definitely see where it would be led to be kind of like a hoax thing. Like this seems all kind of sketchy, right? Now, what is it? That ufologist as well, the UFO abductor, that also claimed that there were certain weird sightings during that time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there were other people that saw things, but not like as descriptive as those people, where they saw a person with 3 beings. Now, on this, did you have any questions for those 2 stories so far?
Nope.
Nope.
Get to the third one.
Let's get to the last
Then
one.
then I'll then
Then
I'll
we'll go at it.
then I'll yeah then I will speak.
So now, the last story is Frederick Valentich. Now, the difference between this story and the other 2 is that Frederick Valentich was never found. He's gone. He dead. Anyway, so
Possibly.
possibly, So he never returned. On October 21st, 1978, at 6:19 p.m., instructor pilot Frederick Valentich began a flight from Moorabbin Airport in Australia to King Island, Tasmania, in Cessna 182L, and the boat or the plane will become more apparent and more important as the story develops. About an hour and a half flight over the Bass Strait. So for those people who are familiar with that area of Australia, he was going. It's literally a little patch of land that's disconnected slightly, and it's literally like an hour drive, like an hour flight. So it's not too bad. So sorry about that. I lost my place. Where he? Oh, it's over the Bass Strait. That day, it was reported to be good visibility, and weather showed light winds only. No clouds, no nothing, no rain, no storm, no nothing to draw any concern, right? He was 20 and wanted to get more hours in for experience as he was testing for something else, right? For testing for other types of flying for pilot.
Yeah, he needed more flight time.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people think that because he was 20 and because he was studying and he was doing more flight time, they think that he's an inexperienced pilot. He's just testing currently for other positions that require flight. You know what I mean? So like longer trips, more secretive campaigns, stuff like that, right? Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to go ahead and do that real quick. So he had communication with Steve Robbie or Roby, I'm sorry, one of those, and he's an air traffic controller, and he inquired about an unknown aircraft in the sky. This happened from 7:06 to 7:12 p.m. after he was told There wasn't anything. Fred claimed that there was an unknown aircraft in the sky hovering above him with a set of lights. He claimed it as it seems to be playing a game. Quote, I'm sorry, it seems to be playing a game of some sort. He's flying over me. It's not an aircraft. Unquote. Quote, it seems like it's stationary. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and this thing is just orbiting on top of me. He has a green light and a metallic and it's shiny outside. It just vanished. His last message, Melbourne, that strange craft is hovering on top of me again. It's not an aircraft. It's not an aircraft. After 17 seconds, there was a loud sound of scraping metal. Authorities searched the area for 4 days and found nothing. And Fred was never seen again. In May 1982, the aircraft accident investigation summary, uh, they listed the cause of the accident as the reason for the disappearance of the aircraft was not determined. A Woodward man who sound a man by the name, I'm sorry, by the name of Woodward, not a Woodward man.
That's a name.
Woodward, the man who signed, sorry, my dyslexia kicked in, who signed off on the report, offered only speculation as he could have been delusional, depressed, even suicidal, or could have been a victim of an undetected meteorite craft. Later, people came out and said, "Hey, any meteor craft, any meteorites, or any meteors that enter the Earth's
It
atmosphere or any
doesn't
close,
hover.
not only doesn't it hover, which is a great point, by the way, it's documented. You know what I mean? They know every little rock. If you kick something up in the air, they're like, bruh. You know what I mean? Like they know that shit. Also, it doesn't hover, so it would have fallen and hit him immediately, which is what most people brought up, and that was one of the big things that kind of discredited Woodward at the very beginning. An alternate theory comes from an issue of, get this, in Skeptical Inquirer in 2013, and it states it mentions Fred was an inexperienced pilot, so he had no experience, and had been cited twice for flying blindly into a cloud, and was obsessed with UFOs, and apparently had a scrapbook with him when he disappeared, claiming claiming his experience was a mixture of wanting to see something and being led to believe anything that he saw that he didn't recognize was a UFO, or claiming the lights on the plane he confused to be another object. This was later disproved, however, because peers and coworkers claimed he was very, very grounded and had tons of experience as a pilot. And the Cessna 182L planes are designed to land in the water for water landings in case of emergency situations.
Mm-hmm.
Reg Watson, a historian, found numerous sightings of cigar shaped objects and UFOs around Kings Island for about 2 months prior to his disappearance. A farmer in Aladi also says that he saw a craft hovering above his house the morning after Fred went missing, and he claims that there was a Cessna 182L attached and stuck to the aircraft. The only last thing that we have is at 7 o'clock, where Fred was recorded and photographed reaching Cape Otway, 20 minutes before the actual disappearance occurred. After that, no one has heard from him ever again. So these three cases are the most, and what I mean compelling is that they're the ones that have most witnesses, most evidence, even photos. This photo that I'm going to put right here during editing, and I'm going to show you after the picture, shows what they not only to believe to be the Cessna, but also a silver craft behind the Cessna. So those are the three cases. If you want my opinion, I think I think Linda's might be a little bullshit. I think Linda's is bullshit for sure. I think Bob Hopkins was kind of excited about this story and jumped on it, but I think the last two could actually be pretty compelling cases.
Okay. Um, can I get into it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Be my
The
guest.
first one. Oh my God, I always forget. I'm
Travis
terrible with
Walton.
names.
Travis Walton.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Um. Okay. We're going. First off, we're going with that it did happen. My personal belief. I've heard the story before. That's one
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of. I think I've heard the third one as well. Um. I think that when he woke up, saw what they were, I think he couldn't handle it. There is there is um stories like stories.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know a better word. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no, no,
I
no,
don't mean it as
no, no,
derogatory.
no, no, no.
Um,
Stories, tales,
of
encounters.
well, no, of them kind of implanting in your brain something you may want to see that's a little bit more palatable to you than what this is.
Which explains why he saw them as muscular, big. They're like, oh, they're gonna
Think
look like
think
us.
about it.
Yeah.
He runs away from them, and the first guy he gets to is someone that could protect him.
Or yeah, or could be seen as a
That he,
friend.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
humanoid. That he would understand. That he would know. He'd be
That
like,
he
oh,
would have a more
good, I'm okay.
conceptualized
Yeah,
and feel more calm around. Because
and
it sounds like it. Because it sounds like
and
he was giving a calm like aura to them. You know what I mean?
and think about it. You said it. He's muscular built. Who's he surrounded by all day for work? Those kind of
Loggers.
guys.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
someone the bigger guys? Oh, so he wanted, hey, I want my friends. I want someone that will leave me alone. Like
right.
like I
Yeah,
that I can understand, and that's
maybe
who he
even backup.
finds.
Maybe as
Yeah,
desperation of backup.
yeah, and then you're like, oh, like they wanted him to feel comfortable, so they make men and women. Oh, okay, like they're just people. Everything's fine.
Yeah, there's nothing
Like,
going on, blah blah blah, and he feels more comfortable in that.
mm-hmm.
He's seeing it, and especially okay, like imagine you're freaking out, you see a man, and you're like, okay, he's a friend, I can trust him, and then you look over and you see a really
You
attractive woman, you feel more calm. You're like, oh, okay, the girl's with them, so we should be
like,
safe,
yeah,
right?
like
Like we're
she's
cool.
not freaking out. I guess
Yeah,
we're
so
good.
I shouldn't freak out, and I think as males we have that type of instinct where we need to like kind of see that in order to feel a little bit better and a little bit more comfortable with ourselves and just in general. So I think that you're probably right.
I
That has some merit where they did that, where
because
they made it more calming.
they showed him they showed him their true form,
Right.
and
And
then
he was like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
yeah,
You know what I
and he
mean?
clearly couldn't handle it, so they're like, okay, we'll go to
Right.
something else.
And we'll make it easier for him to perceive it and do all that stuff. So I definitely get that, and I definitely see this. But you definitely think for sure Travis Walton was abducted for sure.
I if I had to put a score on it, it'd be like a 6 or a 7. I think something happened
You think something happened?
because of the other people. Whereas in the other people in um whatever Napolitano's case,
Yeah, they were all letters and hearsay. While these guys were actually interrogated by police, they were given lie detector tests and they passed them all. And if they didn't pass them all, they were inconclusive. But again, people dwell on the inconclusive. Dude, you can get inconclusive for everything. If I smoke
and
weed and I go take a lie detector test, most of my results are going to come back inconclusive
and
because I'm nervous
yeah,
and you're
and
paranoid.
with her, I'm like, I
You
I
who
don't
deals with
know.
anxiety issues, imagine if someone interrogated you and took a lie detector, you'd fail it. You'd fail it
Yeah,
100%. You'd
yeah,
fail it 100%.
yep.
And you could have done nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some validity to the lie detector test, but there also isn't some
But
validity.
my problem isn't it's just her story. It's just like
It doesn't make sense.
it's like, okay, the one thing it has so many of the parts of an abduction where it's like
It's too perfect.
you have the stuff and it like left in the body, you have it being abducted again, taken out, you have the
That's the
only
part that
thing.
gets me. That's the part that throws me for a left when they go, oh, where's the thing? Oh, it was taken out in a second abduction.
See,
Right.
that's
Like
actually pretty common.
really?
That's pretty
Oh, okay.
common.
Well, then I'm out of my
um
element on that one.
the only thing that lends, at least this is just me, any credibility to any of what she's saying, it's not the supposed eyewitnesses, it's her.
The
You said
cartilage, the cartilage
it's
excess
her
growth.
niece. Her niece. Look, you said it was her niece that was like looking at it. She's a pediatrician or
No,
whatever.
she took an X-ray of it.
Yeah, she took an
She took an
X-ray.
X-ray of it. Yeah.
That's where I'm like, okay, but that could also just be a buildup. That
I
one, it's like
I
it's
took it
less than a
upon
five.
I took it upon myself to kind of look at the image and then kind of look up because I have a condition called polyps in my nose where I have buildup and stuff of cartilage and all that stuff. So I took um, the liberty of seeing how it looked like in an X-ray.
And
It looks very similar. I'm not saying it's exactly, and I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying it looks very similar,
Yeah,
and it would explain the buildup of
and
cartilage.
that's fine. I just
That's okay,
I'm
but
I'm,
also
I'm
this
just
would also
iffy.
cause yeah.
I'm just iffy.
No, I get that, and that's where I'm at with Linda Napolitano. I don't believe that case as much. There's too many. Why would you sign it as him? Why would you sign it as like
Come on, X Files it, Deep Throat. Let's like, come
Deep
on,
Throat?
like, do the thing. Well, I know
No,
that's not
I
X
get
Files.
you.
I get Deep Throat is from Nixon, but
Still though, still though,
yeah,
still.
yeah,
You get the point.
you can
Now,
have a cool name. Make it a cool name. Why not?
right, exactly. Like in the third case with Valentage, like a lot of people are saying, oh well, he was a UFO nut and everything like that. That's great and all, and I'm not discrediting that. Maybe even though other people discredit him, they're like, yeah, no, that's not how he was at all. But let's say he was right. Why would he make up that story if he went missing? What does he gain from being missing and making up that story, making up those intercoms? What does he gain? He
the
gained nothing. He's dead or he's missing. He
the
gained
only
nothing
thing I can think of is that he was out there to kill himself and
and made it up.
wanted it to be interesting. Before he went. Cool.
So
Where's he
where's
at?
so yeah. So where's the plane?
Why didn't you just hit the ground?
Yeah, where's the plane?
Like, or it's in the ocean. It's like, okay, but
But they're made for landing in the
well,
ocean.
you can crash. Like, but
It's harder.
it just doesn't.
Add up
There's no point. Like, and
because you're risking your life. And let's say you make it up. Like what happens? So you go missing and that's it. You're just a story. Great, your name's remembered, but what do you get? Nothing.
to be fair, and I want you to look this guy up because he's fucking awesome. Sky King,
Oh yeah, I know who that is.
Sky
Yeah,
King.
yeah, yeah. The
I
one who
love
wanted
Sky
to just see
King.
orcas.
Yeah,
I love that man.
he just is like, bro, I'm done,
Yeah, I just
and
want to see orcas. I don't
he
want to hurt
just
anybody.
yeah, and he literally and
But see, he didn't lie. He didn't say, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm getting abducted." He's just like, "Bro, if I do this barrel roll, cool. We'll last a little
and he
longer. If
actually
not,
did it.
yeah,
And then they had like aviation. Sorry, this is way off topic.
yeah,
They
yeah,
had aviation people who were like, the fact that he did that in that plane, that's really hard to do.
yeah."
Good on him.
Good on him. Yeah,
But like you said, he didn't say it was UFOs.
he didn't say anything. He was just
I
like, "Yeah, I'm out. Like
and
later, guys."
even like I'm really hard with like eyewitness testimony, especially when it comes to abductions because it's like I want to believe you. I understand. I believe I believe in UFOs. I think these things are real, but your stories are so fantastical on some of these cases that
It blows it out of the water.
I have to be like, you just
Yeah,
want fame.
yeah.
You want something from
See,
this.
like with Travis Walton, if you went up and said, "Hey, bro, this is bullshit," he can look at you and be like, "So what about the five guys that saw it? What about the five guys that saw the
And
fucking glowy light?" And also he
but
could be like, "Oh, what about the fucking fact that not me, but a third party randomly tested the fucking bark and found a 36% increase. What is there to say that?" It's
and
like, okay.
with that, that's in these stories, I chop them up to where I'm like, okay, with all those people saying that,
Yeah.
that's where I believe. Everything after that, a little sus.
A little sus.
But he
A
was
little
missing
sus.
for 5 days.
Yeah.
He comes back. Apparently, there's a craft. Okay, I mean, I kind of believe that more because how the hell would he come back? He'd have to get.
Yeah.
Did he teleport here? He says he
Yeah.
didn't. So it's like, okay,
And what
that
his friends let's say he's faking it, right? So he created this whole elaborate thing that his friends went along with, and let's say he gaslighted him into believing it. What about when they came back? What did he just hide in the woods and waited for them
and okay,
for 5 days?
okay. Let's say he did.
What is
I
Survivor
don't
Man?
know very many people. I don't know very many people who'd be like, yeah, let's go along with this hoax and get interrogated by the
Bro,
police.
after 2.5 hours of interrogation, I'm not covering for him. I'm gonna be like, look, Tyler's a fucking liar. He made it up.
He's in
It's
the
all
fucking
over.
woods.
He's in the fucking woods. He's probably
He's
wiping his
off
own
the
shit with
I
his hand.
10.
Like, come
He's
on,
out
bro.
there. He's fine.
He's
Like
3 miles from the nearest
it,
car.
it,
He's
it doesn't
fine.
it doesn't add up.
Right, exactly.
It's too much of an inconvenience for the other people who are not remembered in the
Right,
story.
bro.
Now for him, if you're the one remembered, of course you're going to do more. No
Yeah.
one knows who they are. No, not saying that, but no one knows their names.
No.
That and I'm sure I
I'm
believe
sure they do. I'm sure they
I'm
do.
sure they
But
do actually have their names, and
yeah.
I'm sure they've been investigated and talked to. But they're not the ones making money.
But also the police confirmed, hey, bro, these guys had nothing to do with it. We interrogated them for hours. They took the lie detector test. Like they check out, dude. Like we're good.
The police probably thought they killed him.
Yeah. Wouldn't you?
It's
Wouldn't
like,
you?
so he got taken up by a UFO. What, you guys got mad at him while you were out there and you just let him fucking die, didn't you?
Right.
You killed
Exactly.
him.
See, and that's what everybody. If we did that, and I didn't come back, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, UFO," you'd be like, "Look, I understand. I know where you're going with this. This one is a fluke. This one really happened. Hang on."
It
Like,
They're like, bro, you're wearing an alien hat. Of course you're gonna say it's a
yeah,
UFO. But I'm like, dude, he
bruh.
literally left. Like,
He
I don't
literally
know what you
like,
want me to
what
say.
more do you want me to say,
Yeah,
dude? Like, but then again, you have all those other coincidences, other thing. It's like, so is it a coincidence that the bar grew 36% more? Is it a coincidence that these people didn't crack under pressure? Because let me tell you, as a person who knows law enforcement, as a person who knows family in law enforcement, I know some of their interrogation tactics, bro. I would be like, okay, enough, I'm done. All right, it's not worth it. It's just not.
that's why it's almost a little bit more believable. Where the second story,
Yeah.
hearsay, I don't know what to do with it. I think I've heard that one too, and I've never known what to do with it. The third story, um,
He was either suicidal or something did happen.
yeah, and
But to say hovering, why would you say hovering? Why wouldn't you say, oh, a craft just flew past me? It flew past me again. It's on top of me. And then this middle script. Why would you say it's hovering?
I would want to know if he had any reports of it, like missing time or thing, or
I mean, he
if
missed
his
all the time. He missed the rest of the time
but
permanently.
but like, funny, um while he's out there, if his like propeller, because I think a Cessna, that's the name of the
Yeah,
plane.
Cessna.
I think it has a front propeller, or I'm thinking of the wrong plane.
That's not the 182. That's the other one. The Cessna 182 has propellers on both sides.
On both sides.
From what I
I
saw, from
wonder
what I
if
googled.
if
I'm not an aviation expert.
if he ever said anything about them stopping, and he's still going. Like while it's up there.
Yeah.
Um, just with it being that close, with
Right.
like, if it messed with any of his instruments, because that's actually pretty common.
What I was
Um,
surprised is that the communication was clear. They could hear him doing all that stuff and talking about all that shit
it's
despite
it's
UFO because
almost like
it's
it's an accident. Like they were
yeah.
doing their thing, and then he's just up there, and they're like, "Oh, hey, like,
I
what are you
wonder
doing up here?"
I
Like,
wonder if because okay, because again, if we're thinking about aliens and we're thinking about like they're capable of flaws, I'm assuming, right?
yeah,
So do you think that maybe they did that? It was a mistake. It was like an actual like car accident in the air.
bro, that's what I think most UFO stuff is. It's a giant accident.
Yeah, probably. And
Like,
then they like I think with him maybe they were like, okay, look, we ain't got insurance. I don't got AAA. We can't tow this bitch. We got to get it out of here. Like, and they moved it
they
off the
try to
road.
give him their card. It's just like like the weird like alien
Weird
scratches
lettering.
and
It's all
stuff.
holographic and
Yeah, they're
shit.
like, here you go.
You have to be here with the car in 30 minutes.
It's
They're
like,
gonna
oh
be
shit, you
here.
also have progressive. Hey, like, cool.
Is this
Like,
Allstate? What
yeah,
kind of shit is this?
like but it's
It's humorous, but it's
with
possibly what could have happened.
yeah, with missing, especially with a missing persons case, you don't have, and I know I say this all the time now. You don't have the rest of the story,
Right,
and I in that case, I want to give the missing person the benefit of the doubt that they are telling me the truth,
right,
because I can't know now. They're gone.
right. And also, like, what I'm thinking about as well is if this guy was committing suicide, his body would instinctively scream when he starts diving. Your body instinctively screams. Like you, like as much as we want to die, you know what I mean? Inside subconsciously, you won't want to die. Your body will try to stop it. Like it'll try to stop the suicide. It'll try to do it. You're literally
And
fighting against your own causes.
maybe that's where, he's turning off communication.
But why? But why was there 17 seconds of silence in the metal scraping? That sounds to me, and maybe just to me, if especially if he's trying to see what's above him, doesn't that sound like someone who's driving and trying to look above them and is like, he's right on top of me, man. It's hang on,
and
and
he hit
then it
something,
crashed into him.
and then
Like
you have that report of the craft with the plane on the back of it.
right, exactly, and that makes it kind of like, oh, they were stuck. Maybe it crashed and it kept going with it, and it was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And not saying that that's a possibility or not a possibility, just saying it sounds more like an accident rather than someone being suicidal or delusional or anything. Because with that, you would go with it until the end and go, oh my god, you know what I mean?
Imagine it's like a teenage alien driver, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I gotta go home.
Dude
They
is
don't,
16
they
with
don't,
his
yeah,
buds, and he
they,
crashes and he goes, "Oh my god, my parents are gonna
yeah,
fucking kill me."
they don't know I took the fucking aircraft. I'm
They
sorry.
they don't know I took that G3
Yeah,
fucking 856 for a fucking test run. The hyperdrive is fucked up. What am I gonna do, man?
they're not gonna believe me.
And the other guys are like, "Blorp," like we don't know.
Blorp.
Like, what are you gonna?
They're just in the back. Squiggle, squiggle, homie.
Yeah,
You're like,
just
no!
instead of peace sign, it's like a tentacle. You're just like, bruh.
Undulate. Like,
It's like, why are you
like, don't
winking
you
at me?
undulate at me.
Don't you wink your third set of eyes at me, you fucking shit.
Yeah.
What do I do?
I know what you did.
You're the one that has insurance. You got to come up here. I'm drunk. Clearly.
It's literally like a Ferris Bueller problem where like he drives the car off the like this is your fault. You did this to me.
Can you imagine they're like us and this dude has like random wax pen just in the front of his glove compartment and he's just like hitting it and just fucking runs into the car. Oh fuck, bro, they're gonna find drugs, man. God damn it.
I can't get stopped again.
Yeah, dude, I can't. This is my third strike. John, toss your shit out. Toss your shit out.
Yo, bro, I got a warrant on Earth. I gotta go.
Hey, bro, we can't be in this planet. Why?
Yeah.
I have a fucking warrant in this lunar system, man. Get out of here.
Yeah, bro, you said what the fuck, bro? You said we were just going to Mars, man.
Like, you said we're going to Mars. This is way too close.
Yeah, what the hell? You know I can't see red and blue. Like,
fuck you.
I didn't know.
That's funny shit.
But
I believe those the first story and the last story. I don't really believe too much about the second story. It's like I would need to see.
And I bet you I know it like what people say, like, oh, you don't believe it because it's a woman. It's like, no, it's her story she's saying.
Yeah,
it's the story. It's not. It has nothing to do with it. It's the story.
Because when I first heard the story, I heard it from Bob Hopkins, not from Linda. I heard it from Bob Hopkins, and then I looked into Linda and I started seeing more about her shit. So when I first heard it, I heard Bob Hopkins that he said that he got an account of this, and I was like, "That's bullshit, Bob. Like, come on, man." And not that I believe Bob Hopkins on anything he says, but it's like it's bullshit, bro. Come on.
I am not of. I'm more of the theory of the grays.
I could see that
making us see what we need to see. Then
there's a species of Nordic Nazi aliens
like us, but aren't us. I just don't. It's too.
Question though, if there were Nordic Aryan fucking like alien guys, like, do you think that their spaceship would be in the shape of a swastika? That'd be weird. That'd be weird. If I saw a random like Nazi symbol in the sky, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I'd be genuinely confused.
Yeah, I'd be like more concerned. I'd be like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, all the parts would be scared. I don't know, man. But those were the three stories of the UFO. I was bringing something a little bit more different. I'm gonna try to keep doing that. I'm gonna try to do ghosts next, or do a few other ones. But I think the alien one did pretty well.
Yeah, no, and actually, I do want to. I have more.
Oh, do you have more?
Yeah,
keep going, bro.
No, I was saying like
I was over here wrapping up. My bad.
No,
keep going.
You. It's like you with like serial killers and stuff. You dipped a toe into
Hey,
my
you
thing, and you're
yeah.
not. It's like it's time. No, I was saying with the when they show you what you want to see.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird that they want to comfort us so
Right.
bad. You know, like if you subscribe to that thought. One, if that is, it seems like they know us really well.
Right.
Two, like telekinesis, that's crazy. And I do like their fashion sense.
Yeah.
Little orange jumpsuits.
Minion, I'm down with that, bro.
Yep.
Slipknot in the daytime, I'm
Why
down.
not? Why not,
dude? Shit, I did my time and I won out.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
they
Type shit.
and then with the Greys, a lot of theories are that they're not the aliens, that they're like robots,
Yeah, that they're
like like they're
like
almost like a
like organic suits or something like that, or organic androids.
yeah, so
Yeah,
because the distances and everything, so they can just like pretty much put them in cryo sleep or whatever and
yeah.
wake them up, and they do all the testing and everything they
Essentially, they're
need.
avatars being
Yeah,
controlled by the actual alien race,
yep,
which would make sense too.
yeah.
And
That
you have
that actually is an interesting theory.
yeah,
Because
it's
like,
a
why do they look uniform? Why would you make different looking robots?
yeah.
For why?
They're robots. What do you care?
You just
Well, they don't
they
have
just do what they
genitals.
need to
They're
do.
robots. Why would you?
Yeah, you just put the telepathic power in them, so they don't really need their limbs, and then they can just do their thing.
Do you know it'd be hilarious if like two workers were on the same spaceship, and they have their animatronics, and the other one is just like humping the other one in the background. But while they're doing their testing, they're just like,
Apparently,
yeah,
there's stuff where like people
yeah.
have mated with them and had like alien hybrid children.
That's got to be an ugly ass looking person.
Apparently not. That's the thing.
The fact that you think that the fact that the person would think that their own offspring is attractive is a little
I
disconcerting.
I can't. I wish I was better with names. I'm horrible with names. But okay, so getting on to the second story, she's brought out.
Linda Napolitano.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's brought out. Everything's floating. You know, no real. I'm gonna look into that with the
yeah.
craft. I don't remember hearing anything about a craft, but it was more like floating out in the air. And then
They
it's
went up into a clam shaped
yes,
shell
yes, yes. They went up.
craft.
Okay,
Yeah, so there was a craft mentioned. Yeah,
I don't
it's
know,
hard.
man. I
It's
I
hard,
don't
man.
know.
I get it.
Um, like I just the Greys are interesting because they're they're also like what we would want to see in an alien.
Right, like what we expect to see in an alien.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people think that that's why most cited is alien is the gray
Mhm.
because they're doing a mixture of what you're doing, of what you're saying they're doing. They're trying to calm you down, so they expect us to look like this, cool. And in reality, they could have like a dickhead with like 15 fucking
They're
eyeballs
they're,
and
they're a
like
Balchinian.
a Balchinian, yeah,
Yeah.
or whatever from MIB. It'd be really weird. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. If I was abducted and I saw a dude with a penis on his forehead as an alien, I would be very less intimidated, or more, depending on the circumstance. Like if I'm restrained and my ass is up in the air, I'm gonna be like a little bit more intimidated
Yeah.
because
It
yeah,
depends. It depends.
yeah. But if
It
I'm just
depends
looking
if
at
you have
you,
clothes on.
right, exactly.
Yep.
And also it depends if I'm staring at you in the eyes. Like if I'm staring at you at the
Hmm.
two eyes and the third eye, I'm gonna have a little less time being like
And you don't
intimidated.
even know if that like
Like is it
is what.
functional?
Yeah. Like, is it does it work?
If he thinks really hard, is he gonna like jizz on me, or like do I need to step back a few
Or
feet?
if it's just like it starts talking to you, you're like, um,
Wait, if the penis slit started talking to you, that'd be creepy.
I'm just gonna die.
I'd be like, whoa,
I choose
what?
death.
Which
No,
eye do I talk to? Is what I'm
but
asking.
it's just it's interesting that what we think of.
The dick thing?
No, 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 no,
Oh, I
no.
was like, I mean,
Like,
it's interesting,
sorry,
but we don't
sorry,
gotta
but
like, we don't gotta stay
like
on this.
what we think of as not us, we make it so much like us. The two eyes,
Yeah,
sometimes nostrils, usually little slits, and then the mouth. Like, you know, arms, legs, big head, big brain, so they're smart. Oh,
right.
we have to account for the fact they have UFOs. Why do we have to assume that that's what they look like?
Yeah. Why? What if they're just like amoebas?
Why would they look like that? Right? And I'm not saying to my overlords. I'm
Over
not.
my
I'm
tallest.
yeah. That's hilarious. By the way, when they talk about like, oh, you're ruled by like the tallest people, we kind of are too.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of
My
a thing.
tallest.
Yeah. But I just think the Greys are. That's so fascinating that it keeps showing up over and over and over in different cultures at different times,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, were we indoctrinated to that, or is that the truth that we weren't supposed to know?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
like,
Is this a hiccup or are we purposely seeing this for a reason?
yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Although, hang on, as much as I want to continue the story, it sounds like the storage place is going to come down, so we should probably end that before the lights cut off.
Oh, come on!
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's rumbling.
I see a creepy green light.
Don't start this. I don't want to be on a podcast in a few. I want to be on our podcast, not on a different podcast, talking about a missing person. Anyway,
Missing people.
missing people.
And with that, I will see you on the road.
See you guys.